Hi, and welcome back to That's So Nova. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. Today we're going to be doing the Coupeville Tote from Oro Rosa pattern. It's her newest launch in her collection. It is a very fun tote. It's a medium-sized tote that has an option to quilt or not to quilt. It has unique handles, a crossbody strap, and a large pocket phone, like a pocket to put your phone in on the exterior, and the main compartment has a zipper pocket and 2 slip pockets. The bag is turned through the bottom of the lining, so there's no binding. If you would like to purchase this tote pattern and sew along with me, I do have a link that is in the description box, as well as it's highlighted in the comments. And if you purchase from this link, it is affiliate. An affiliate link means that when a small portion of the proceeds will go to me, and that helps support this channel tremendously. So let's get started. The most important part to the Coupeville tote is following Alexis's directions on how to stabilize your pieces, the correct stabilizers, and the correct places to put them. So please make sure that you do that. There are quite a few pages. They're from pages, if I'm not mistaken, pages 13 all the way through 18. So on page 18, we're going to be working with the connectors, and the connectors do look like this when they're complete. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut a little bit on the sides of the edges and try to get them lined up as best as you possibly can to make them match. I am not the best cutter sometimes. So here we go. And then we're going to peel our double-sided tape down. And as you can see, there is stabilizer in the center of this. So make sure that you definitely follow how you're supposed to stabilize all these pieces. And I'm just trying to have this go as best as possible. So we're going to go up, down, up from the narrow edge on the bottom, and I'm going to always back stitch to lock in a stitch and do a 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Well, a U. Once you're done with that, repeat for the second one, and you will have your 2. I'm going to place a little clip to keep these connectors together, and I'm going to put this to the side. So let's put my hardware to the side, because we all know, if you watch any of my YouTube tutorials, something always runs amok and goes missing. So if you're omitting the connectors, there's a different a set of connectors that are decorative that are on the sides. If you are not doing that, I am not doing that for this. I'm not quilting, nor am I adding the additional optional connectors on the side, but they are very, very cute. And I do have pictures. If you follow me on Instagram or in my Facebook group, That's So Nova, I do have pictures of Alice in Wonderland with the additional side connectors, and I find that they're really charming. My copy, it's been through Hades and back. So we're going to do the strap. So have a piece of double-sided tape that's running down the middle. I'm going to put this here for right now. And if you see, you're like, hey, Nova, you have a piece of black tape that's in the middle. That is electrical tape. I put some kind of stabilizers in all of my straps, so that way there's no stretch. Vinyl sometimes has a stretch when you cut it in a certain direction, and it can wind up busting stitches or not being very comfortable. So I try to make things accommodating and functional as best as I possibly can. I usually put the tape on one side so that way you won't see it, but sometimes I do cinch it in the center, especially if it's electrical tape, because it's very thin and it really doesn't add any bulk. And this is a 4-inch strap by whatever your width is. If you're making this for a client, I would definitely do the recommended size that's inside the pattern, because if they're a short person, you can definitely reduce the strap. But if they're a tall person and you create a short strap, it can be a little bit, you would need to recreate a new strap in order to accommodate them. All right, and I'm going to fold this over on itself, and I'm going to sew down the first part using a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now you can clip along the open edge so that way it's easier for you, but do whatever is more convenient for you. Some people like to do like me, fold. Some people like to clip. Some people like to use double-sided tape. Whatever is easier for you to get this bag finished for yourself or for family or to sell. We all have our own particular styles. There's no wrong or right answer. It's just whatever is more easier for you and more comfortable for you and what you like. Personal preferences. And then 1/8 of an inch down the other side. Okay, and now we're going to finish making our crossbody straps. There are measurements in there to help with that. I'm actually going to be using a template that is from Jolie Creations, and it has where you can make markings to make the perfect strap connectors. I am not going to be using strap ends. I'm going to edge paint or paint with fabric markers in order to achieve the look that I want. I'm using 70 weight thread from Superior Thread. Before you do start this, I would highly recommend you having rivets in all sizes, because some areas when we're putting the connectors can be a little bit tricky if you don't have a longer rivet post and you have a thicker I can't talk today. You have a thicker materials that you're trying to rivet through. My favorite rivets are from Inline Bag, but they're in Canada, so there is a little bit of a fee to get them imported over here. So what I usually do is get some from Wawak, or I will purchase some from Amazon, or whenever I have a chance to go to Tandy Leather, I go to the Tandy Leather. I want to make sure my strap is going the same direction and that the connector right here is facing me, so it's smooth on the back, and where I just rivet it where the raw edge is exposed. I'm going to then take a swivel hook, feed it through, and go up and over this wide mouth slider. Making sure my bag strap isn't twisted. And I'm going to feed this through and put a rivet through this connector right here on the side. Okay, so we're done with our strap, so I'm going to put it on the side for right now. The next thing we're going to be doing is making our curved handles. This is what makes this tote so unique, so like high end in my opinion. I've never seen handles like this before. So when you get it, again, having following the directions and having a 1/8 of inch line and splitting your stabilizer before you adhere it helps tremendously, following the directions. Then you're going to draw a 3/8 of an inch line that goes away from the stabilizer, and I am going to use a seam roller, and I'm going to roll this double-sided tape on to make sure that it's nice and sticky. I'm going to remove one side, and I trimmed, or not trimmed, I did little snips inside of where the 3/8 of the inch line is, and made sure I didn't go past it, so that way this curve can fit nicely. Just fold it over where that line is that you created. Then I'm going to give this a press with my seam roller. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, so that 3/8 of inch line is mine's is kind of wibbly wobbly, but I got it by just using a smaller ruler and drawing on the lines. And I'm using black marine vinyl that I got from Fabric Wholesale Direct. Okay, then we're going to fold this onto itself. You want to make sure fold this onto itself and make sure everything's matching. And I'm just going to go ahead and clip. And that's why the stabilizer being cut in half in the prepping is so important, so that way you don't have an additional bulk at the top of your strap. All right, we're going to top stitch down one line on both long ends. So I'm going to back stitch before and at the end of each, and we're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. I'm just going to move some of these out of the way as I'm top stitching. And before you ask, yes, this I'm sewing on my 1341, I'm sorry, my 1541S, but this pattern is super domestic friendly. Our designer sews on a Janome HD, which is a semi-industrial, but it is classified underneath a domestic machine, and it works, as well as I sewed this on, I sewed the Alice in Wonderland bag with my Bernina 1181. Okay, so we have our straps. You're going to go ahead and you're going to make your second one, and then you're just going to kind of clip them and put them away for right now. All right, I am not quilting, but there is beautiful instructions on how to quilt this on page 24 and 25. Let's go down to page 26, and you have a choice to put an optional tag on your bag, and she gives you a location where she puts her handmade tag, and it looks absolutely smashing. But please be aware that you can place your tag anywhere and everywhere anywhere you please. It's your project, and do what makes you feel comfortable. We're now going to grab the exterior foam back piece, and I, if you can see, put my tag on the back of this because I just like the way it looks. I'm going to match this and clip it, and we're going to sew a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now this could be tricky. Sometimes you can draw your 3/8 of an inch if it's easier. I'm going to follow my seam guide, and I'm going to back stitch. And I'm doing one stitch at a time, and my machine is going needle down every time I stop, and that's how I particularly like it, so there's no skip stitches. So you have your back panel exterior with your cell phone lining, in case I didn't say that. And without flinging a million clips everywhere like I'm doing, I'm going to trim. And we're going to clip into this. What I personally like to do is I like to clip into the first one area where I know that it may be a little bit harder to shape, and to trim it down I actually like to use pinking shears, so that way it reduces and spreads out the bulk. It's little notches it creates. If you don't have it, you can just do little snips, or you can cut out little triangles yourself. It is a little time consuming, but I promise you it's worth it when your bulk is not stacked up and it's just spread out. All right, I'm gonna finger press this. I'm just going to clip this right here. And clip this over here. I'm just finger pressing it, and then I'm going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. And I'm following the inside of my foot on this and not the seam guide. Okay, we're going to take our back foam piece, our back panel, and we are going to line it up see, and it looks really nice. We're going to follow along on page 27, and we're going to sew like similar to a zipper pocket, all 3 layers at 3/8 of it. All 2 layers at 3/8 of an inch. Do not sew through your main panel. I'm going to back stitch at the end at the beginning. Okay, trim those threads. All right, then we're going to trim this down to about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, we're going to clip the edge and we're going to just baste this in place. And as you can see, there's like 2 base stitches. Like it looks like 1/4 of an inch, and then again at 1/8 of an inch. And this is to keep this pocket from not, the lining to droop down when we're connecting everything. We do not want that. We're going to put this to the side and we're going to grab our base piece. On our base, we're going to measure 2.5 inches in and 1 3/8 of an inch down. Once you do that, you're going to punch a hole in that mark from the 2.5 inches in to 1 3/8 inches. 2.5 inches from the short end, 1 3/8 of an inch from the long end. Punch a hole where your center is. You're going to place 4 bag feet. And then use some kind of protectant so that way the lining fabric doesn't continuously, hold on, I gotta change this around. And then something like duct tape or electrical tape, foam, like scrap of adhesive foam, anything to help help with friction. And then you want to make sure that you mark your centers and then draw 3/8 of an inch box on each corner. we're going to grab our main exterior panel, and this is mine, and we're going to match up our center markings and make sure you're going the right direction. This does have a curve where it's wider at the bottom and narrower at the top. And I'm going to do a couple clips, and we're going to start and stop at the 3-inch box that we made. Backstitch at the beginning and end. Okay, then we're going to trim to 1/8 inch of the seam allowance. Folding back this, we're going to trim 1/8 of an inch seam allowance on the back bottom, not the main compartment. And you're only going to trim within that seam allowance that you just sewn. So don't trim off the little 3/8 of an inch. Okay. And we're also going to then snip into our main pattern to the 3/8 of an inch. Okay. We're going to fold this down and we're going to top stitch on the base, not sewing over the 3/8 of an inch. The 3/8 of an inch at the bottom and the top. So just between those lines too. If you need to, use your chalk pencil or an erasable pen to have your stop and start on the exterior. Me, I just bring up the little flaps so that way they're I know where naturally to stop and start. Okay. We're going to do the same on the other panel that we just did, the cell phone panel. Finding your centers, super important in this bag. Make sure you backstitch and just start and stop with 3 inches in, 3/8 of an inch in. Sorry, that's my dog and his toy, and I jumped myself. Okay, we're going to trim. Remember the exterior bottom, not the main exterior piece, to 1/8 of an inch. Trimming is super important in every single step of this bag. It will help reduce bulk and make you be able to sew things through quite easy and give the bag a really nice finish. We're going to do 1/8 of an inch. Stopping and starting at 3/8 of an inch on both ends. forgot to snip in that 3/8 of an inch onto the exterior, but I got it right now. All right, so we have that. Next, we're going to be adding our pattern piece. We're going to be using the top trim. Now the top trim is really interesting too, because it is shaped where it's wider at the bottom and longer at the top, and it has two different two different stabilizers in different locations. So please, please, please make sure you please make sure that you, I gotta find my center for this one. You follow the directions that was laid out. In the prep work. 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch from the beginning to the end. Okay, and then we're going to trim the top panel, not the exterior, the main exterior body, to 1/8 of an inch. Duckbill scissors would be incredibly helpful if you do have them in your stash. If you don't, you can definitely just tilt your scissors at an angle and you'll be fine. And we're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. And we're going to top stitch on the top trim. Okay, and we're going to do this on the second part. Three-eighths of an inch, back stitch in the beginning and the end. I'm just folding in my bag when I'm sewing so it doesn't like drag or make something not fit because it's getting tugged down by something else. Trim. Just the top exterior, not the main exterior bottom piece. We're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch on the top. And then we're going to grab our handles. And what you want to make sure is when you're adding these handles that you want to have them going the right shape. The inside of this is where you want to do. You don't want to have it going the exterior wrong. So you want the feet to be poking out, not in. So if you think of these as feet, it might be a little bit easier. So we're going to measure the handles to fit at 1 1/4 of an inch away from the short edges. I'm just going to make a mark on all sides, 4 sides. Okay, so we're going to retrieve and make sure that there's the inward and outward of the short edges, and we want to make sure that we're applying, top stitching them, basting them in the correct way. So I'm just going to make sure I'm at the exact mark. Clip them in place. So the point should be facing towards the out of the bag, not inwards. I think the ruler just fell into the trash. All right. And we're going to trim, we're going to base them down using 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing on this side. I'm just bringing my threads over so that way I don't have to hold my tails. It's a little lazy way, but it gets my job done. All right. So we're gonna put this aside for real quickly, and we're going to do our zipper. So you want to have your zipper panel, and there's a way you're supposed to interface that as well. Once you do that, you're going to put some double-sided tape on the ends of your zipper panel, and you're going to fold this on to where the Coupeville light is at. So if you measured correctly, or even if you kind of fudged it a little bit, it's okay. It's all going to be the same size in the end, but just measure it to fit to fold over right over your Coupeville light. we're going to take this and we're going to make a zipper teeth. So we already have one side I wanted to show you, so I'm going to show you how to do the other side. What we're going to do is we're going to fold over and kind of, I always like to fold over and then bring this little tail back so that way it fits flush where I don't have excess hanging on the side. Then I'm going to stick a pin in it. I'm going to grab a lighter and I'm going to singe the ends and kind of make them melt on itself. And if you do it the right way, then you don't have to sew. It's just singe, and you can see where that is on this side, and that's nice and clean. Then we're going to find our center, and you're going to make a little press. We're going to want the raw edges to fit. So I'm going to mark this real quick because it's kind of hard to see on black. I apologize. I really wanted to do like a Zelda bag, and the color scheme is like either green, which I'm not too keen on, so I went black with bronze. I'm going to put some double-sided tape that's not permanent, so that way I can show you how to trim this when we're done, but it will hold my tape in place. Whilst I am sewing this 3/8 of an inch together. So we're going to fold this onto itself. And you could put a couple clips if you want, whatever's easier for you. And we're going to sew 3/8 of an inch where the zipper teeth are. You're going to back stitch well at the beginning and end. You're going to trim off those threads. You're going to snip where this little, we started at, and just, it helps reduce bulk. So when you're trying to sew it's right sides out together and top stitch, it's just easier. Make sure you don't snip into your tape. Now, what I do here is I snip around the zipper so that it can poke out nicely. I'm gonna just remove the tape, zipper tape that not the zipper tape, but the double-sided tape, so that way I can get to that axis. But see how I'm not sewing, I'm not cutting the zipper tape itself. Okay, see, now we have two sides. We're going to now top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch, going down, across, and up. Okay, we're going to find our center. We always do that. That's the most important step. And we have two sides. Okay. We're going to grab the right side. We're going to grab where the front of the bag is, And we're going to have, it depends on how you want your zipper to close, but I like to do it from left to right. So I'm going to follow how Alexis has it in the pattern. You're going to want your zipper teeth facing right sides towards the bag. If you have them up, you're going to be really upset at yourself. Ask me how I know. No, I didn't do it, but it's very easily could be done. So just be careful. And we're going to like you see on figure 124, she makes it in red. Please have your zipper teeth down right side on top of the top trim. And we are going to base this on at 1/8 of an inch. Trim those threads. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Put your handles down, match up those notches, zipper teeth down facing the right side of the top trim. Clip it, and then we're going to sew it at 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to, I just noticed a couple of threads, so I'm going to singe them. There we go. And then we're going to turn this around, and we are going to position it where the zipper panel is, and we're going to trim the corners, like over here where the at an angle where the top trim is, not trimming where this into the stitches, but just trying to remove excess bulk. So where we did the exterior to the top trim. This will all help in the end, so please do trim. I sound like a rhyming there. We're going to put that to the side, and we're going to grab our slip pocket. And our slip pocket is pretty large. If you have directional, please pay attention to how the pattern tells you to put this together. We're going to grab our first part of our slip pocket, and we are going to make some measurements. The first measurement we're going to make is 8 inches down from one edge. Let's see. Okay. And the second measurement is going to be 6.5 from the measurement we just made. Okay. Then we're going to flip this over, and we're going to fold the 8.5 inches right sides together, and you're going to give that a press. You can bring this to your ironing board and give this a press. I'm going to finger press mine. And with the folded edge facing towards the left hand side, we're going to take the second line and fold it And then before I do any top stitching, I always try to make sure that these fit accordingly if I have to adjust anything. And we're going to top stitch the fold at 1/4 of an inch. I mean at 1/8 of an inch. Perfect time for the bobbin to go out though. It finished, I have one bobbin chicken and it went all the way across, so I am not mad at myself. Huzzah for bobbin chicken. Trim those threads. Bring that crease. And you can see there's a nice little pocket. Okay, and then we're going to be putting our little wings on. I'm going to trim this excess stabilizer. I am notorious for that. I don't know if anyone else is like that, where you, when you interface, you accidentally leave some stabilizer in. I'm going to clip this good. And this is a cool area if you wanted to put a tag if you want. All right, we're going to base, we're not going to base, we're going to sew these down. We're using a 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch at the beginning and end. Sorry, my machine, it doesn't, sometimes it wants to act a little crazy after I use a lot of double-sided tape, but it's okay. Okay, we are going to trim the main lining panel, main lining side panels to 1/8 of an inch. Okay, we're going to press these down and we are going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch onto the side wings. We're going to do the same thing. And then we're going to trim just at an angle, all the areas that at the corners, just where the fabric is, so that way it can help reduce bulk. And then we're going to work on the zipper pocket. So for the zipper pocket, I find it really easier to make sure that if you have like maybe right 1 or 2 on your back pocket, so you're aware. These are the smaller pieces. They're 7 inches across. So finding your center will be nice. And then I'm going to go ahead and singe my 8-inch zipper, and I'm going to find my center. I'm going to draw a chalk mark right there. So we're going to put lining side 1 on first, and we're going to sew it down with a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. So I'm just going to clip this right here in place and face this on with a 1/8 of an inch. Trim those threads. And then we're going to move this one out of the way and line up pocket 2, lining pocket 2. And base that in place. Okay. Then we're going to retrieve your zipper pocket back pocket. It's the longer one, so that will help you. Have your direction however you wish to have it. If it's a directional print, have the direction going towards the bottom. Okay, and then you're going to measure, get a gridded ruler and measure 7.5 inches. All right, you're going to want to then you want to use your non-removable pen. You want to fold on the line right sides together. Okay. And then you want to unfold your pocket, keeping the 7.5 inch, this side, 7.5 inch towards the left-hand side. You're going to want to take your zipper pocket that we just put together, and you kind of want to see, you want to have your zipper where pocket number 1 is facing you, and you're going to sew, this together. Because you're going to see the short end, it's just going to be like a 1/2 inch poking out, and you're going to sew this together at 3/8 of an inch. Okay. Now you're going to want to top stitch, and you're going to want to see pocket 2, and you're just going to want to have both pockets facing together and having this, and we're going to sew this using 1/8 of an inch and then 1/4 of an inch. Just top stitching. So you're catching the seam allowance, but you're not catching the lining down there. Oops. Hold on to your tail so you don't lose your thread. Okay. Then we're going to want to add our back piece, and we're going to put this right sides together. And top stitch that at 3/8 of an inch. I mean, not top stitch, but pieces together at 3/8 of an inch. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to top stitch this, but not have our zipper pockets be caught in the top stitch, just the seam allowance. You know, we're going to do this once at 1/8 of an inch. Okay. We're going to grab our pockets and we are going to match them up, and we're going to sew 3/8 of an inch going up. So as you can see, this is 1 and this is 2, and they're perfectly lined up. 3/8 of an inch, and you don't want to sew into your zipper just like really close before you hit that zipper tape and then back stitch. Do not sew into your zipper or you're going to be really mad at yourself, and then that's not good. Do the same thing on this side. Get as close as you can without not touching. Okay, and then we are going to trim these threads, and we're going to trim the sides of the pockets. I'm not the pockets, but just the zipper parts that the zipper pocket part that we just sewed to 1/8 of an inch. Not cutting into the tape. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to get this folded. From that mark that we made earlier up. Okay. And you want to put your zipper pull on right about now before we put our side wings on, so that way you don't, again, you don't get mad at yourself. Like, oh, I have a beautiful zipper pocket that I can't open. Okay, we're going to trim this string, and then we're going to match these up as best as we can. Okay, and we're going to sew these on using 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch well at the beginning and the end. And we're going to do that on the other side. And then we're going to trim the side wings, not the lining, to 1/8 of an inch, like we did on the other side. Trim those tails. Okay, and then we're going to press. I'm going to finger press. You can take it to the iron if you're, and I'm going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch on the side wing. I need to restitch that. My thread broke. Okay, I'm going to do that on the other side. All right, so we're going to go back here and we're going to trim up the corners areas like we did last time, not cutting into the stitches, but just relieving some bulk on the side. And then I'm going to find my centers. Do a little snip. And I'm going to grab my other lining piece and do the same, finding my centers. Okay, and now we're going to go to page 47 and we're going to start putting this bag together. It's pretty exciting. So for the front piece, you want to have the slip pocket in front. You can put the zipper pocket if you want. This is just how the pattern goes. So you're going to want to put right sides together. Match up those notches. I'm going to move my zipper out of the way by putting a clip, and we're going to machine pieces together at 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch well at the beginning and the end. It's going to get a little bulky in this area because this is where our zipper pieces, but you can do this. You just will be removing some bulk soon. Okay, and then we're going to trim only the lining piece. Do not trim what's underneath, just the lining piece. To 1/8 of an inch. Okay, if you have a hammer, this is a good time to press this out. You could bang on the seams to flatten them out. You can roll with a seam roller, whatever you can do to help with it. We're going to top stitch on the lining piece at 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and we're going to repeat the same process to the back where the cell phone pocket is. We're going to clip this out of the way. Three-eighths of an inch. Trim only the lining piece to 1/8 of an inch. And then we're going to top stitch, that was my elbow, the lining down at 1/8 of an inch. Trim those tails. And then we are going to kind of trim down these corners at an angle like we've been doing for just not getting it into your stitches. All right, so what we're going to do now is, one, make sure all threads are trimmed. Two, we're going to make sure our zipper pocket is open. Okay. And we're going to start putting lining with lining. I'm just kind of collapsing this so everything can just line up. You really want to make sure things line up. So sometimes what I do is, I know a lot of, you can staple, or you can do this little trick where I'm going to put double-sided tape that's 1/8 of an inch where the top part is, and I am doing this so that nothing shifts and everything meets up. And then I will clip. I'm just moving some stuff out of the way so everything doesn't go flying. And I just kind of shift everything so that way it just lines up as best as I can. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to, again, I guess I didn't get my zipper out of the way, but I'm going to do it again on that side. Just put a some double-sided tape that's like about 1/8 of an inch. I'm just clipping everything in place to make sure everything lines up. Now we're going to sew down just the sides, and we're going to leave the bottom lining open. All right, we're going to sew down the sides at 3/8 of an inch. Please back stitch at the beginning and at the end. And there's the pieces have a little bit of curve, so follow the curves as best as you can. Make sure everything lines up. Okay. We're going to do this on the other side. Okay, so then we're going to trim everything to 1/8 of an inch except this top panel. This pit where that has the 2 pieces of Coupeville light, yeah, don't trim that. And don't accidentally cut into your stitches, or you're going to have to do a quick repair. All right. Same thing on this side. Okay. Then we're going to box our corners. And we're going to sew at 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to sew a stitch right beneath a 3/8 of an inch. I just do this for reinforcement. You don't have to do this. It's just something I do. And then we're going to trim. Three-eighths of an inch. And then we're going to trim. And then we're going to turn the bag right side out. Through the opening we had. Poking out those corners. Okay, and then we're going to do the lining. So we're going to pull the lining through the pocket. We're gonna match up those notches. We are going to match up like where the corners are too, so that way that they can look as nice as possible. And we're going to sew at 3/8 of an inch. It is a tight, it's a little tight, but you got this. It's not too bad. Okay, and then we're going to box our bottoms. And sew those at 3/8 of an inch. Take your time. There's no rush. Ooh, sorry, I got a little heavy-footed on that. I'm gonna trim. And then we're gonna do our last one. Have one seam going one direction, the other. Shove that back in. We're gonna close up this pocket. Let's see. I have a bee in here. It's like sitting on my camera, just kind of staring at me. Like on top of it. I'm sorry. Can't say I don't provide interesting content. Okay. I tuck the lining onto itself, and I'm going to shove this pocket back in. And I'm going to just kind of squeeze this pocket down. Move this real quick. And when you push the lining down, you'll notice the areas that we had the two pieces of Coupeville light kind of starts falling into place. Pushing the zipper pocket down inside of it. And see, it just folded onto itself because how we did the zipper pocket in the beginning. I'm not the how we did the top panel. So I'm just going to fold these zipper pockets down because we're now going to be moving to me, the part that took me the longest is riveting. So if you go on page 54, we're going to do some measurements, and you want to make sure your zipper pockets are out of the way because we only want to rivet through the handles and this top part right here. So we're going to grab a ruler and we're going to align the 2-inch mark and we're going to rivet 3/4 of an inch down and 3/4 of an, we're going to make a mark at 3/4 of an inch in, and 1 inch and 3/4 of an inch. We're going to do the same thing too. We're going to go to align our 2-inch mark, go 3/4 of an inch in, 3/4, 1 3/4. A Tandy leather pen would work better. I just have a RSV pen, and that's what I'm deciding I'm going to use. Let's see. Okay, then I'm going to get my hole punch, and I'm going to punch a hole only through this top part. The zipper panel's folded inside and not punching through my zipper panel. I'm making sure my hand is going underneath and the zipper panel is not getting punched. Now I'm going to go on the other side and go to the other markings. Okay, and then you want to get your rivets that I just dropped. And I'm going to get my male portion, and I'm going to put them in and then put the female cap on them. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the front panel. And then I'm going to set them all. This to me, for me, everyone always has a part that they like love or say, oh, this is the longest part. For me, it was definitely setting all the rivets and putting all the rivets in place. But I love the end result, so I'm not really I don't have a problem with it. I love that this tote has completely different handles. I've never seen any handles in any bag like this before. So it gives it a very high-end, lush Saks Fifth Avenue feel. But what else do we expect from Alexis at this point to accept absolute perfection. So from here, we are going to grab our side connectors. We're going to get some double-sided tape. And we're going to put it on the parts that we had that little fold over. And we're going to fold this onto itself. So fold it up. Okay, then this is going to be folded down here like this. We're going to measure 1/4 of an inch down and make holes. We're going to punch some holes. So I'm trying to find my almighty ruler because I am horrible at finding markings unless I have this tool. So this tool has like where the 1/4 of an inch mark is. So I'm going to grab my pen and I'm just going to draw some dots, and then I'm going to punch through some holes. Make sure you're punching a big enough hole that I can go through all these layers, because the smaller you make the hole, the more difficult it's going to be for you to get through all the layers. We're going to do the same thing with this. We're going to fold this over, and you can measure 1/4 of an inch down with a ruler, because these are only 1 inch. But if you're like me and you have a tool for riveting, this is the time to play around with it. And I'm really bad at eyeballing. Oh my gosh. That is like my kryptonite right there. If I eyeball something, it's going to come out crooked no matter what. Okay. So then you're going to go down to page 56, and we're going to put our D-ring or your triangle, whatever you have available, on here, and we're going to put this on the bag. We're going to align this and make marks so we can follow I'm just going to draw the dots. And I'm going to punch the holes. And I'm going to grab 4 longer rivets. I noticed that these black ones are 9 millimeter long, so I like them a little bit better because I don't have to struggle with trying to put these in. So I'm going to maybe punch the hole better on this one. And I'm going to put the rivets in. Okay, and what I try to do is I try to put the bottom rivets in first because I always have the most difficulties with this, but some people might have more difficulties with the top ones. And then I'll set these rivets and then put in the top ones. So I'm going to set this first rivet. And that's why I said in the beginning, make sure you have rivets of different lengths because it will help tremendously when you're putting together this bag. So we're putting together this. And you're like, Shunfa, you're using black. Yes. I couldn't find any of antique ones in my fabrics, my hardware stash. So I went with black because I figured the bag was black and no one will really notice it. Okay. We're going to do the same thing again. And this is why it's also really important to trim in the beginning, because you just don't know how much your bulk is. This vinyl is sometimes typically like super thick and other times it's not. But because of how it's been interfaced, I'll put in these rivets. I'm punching the holes. And I got a weird rivet. Oh no. Have you ever just got like a random weird rivet? I'll show you what I'm talking about. Look, it's just a post, not a cap. Okay. This, and again, this to me is the part that takes a little bit of a longer time because you need a little bit of finesse getting these rivets through. But my biggest tip is to make the hole slightly bigger than what you normally do, and it can thread a little bit easier, in my opinion. Okay, I'm almost done. I have one more rivet after this and I'll be finished. Okay. All right, so we have that part done. Our last thing, other than to poke out this, would be put on our zipper pull. Oops. It's so easier when I'm not on camera. I promise you I could put these bad boys on without a question, a shadow of a doubt. I still don't like the way that I like one tooth off and it drives me absolutely batty. And I'm looking for my little thread zapper so I can singe the ends, but alas, I don't see it. There we go. That is so much better. And you can see this bag is not super structured, and it's like, I love that. I'm gonna get these little nips off, and then I'm going to grab some double-sided tape, and I'm going to put it on here, fold this over, put this on here, fold this over, and then I'm going to get an end cap, a zipper end cap. I got these from Fireweed Stitch, and I kind of really like them. They're unique looking to me, at least. I'm going to slide this on here. Get the screw. Screw it in. Nice and tight. And my friends, there, you absolutely got it. You have a let me move my press out of the way. You have a beautiful tote that has a really nice, where you can have your, any kind of front on this. You have a nice zipper panel, a cell phone pocket. When you open it up, you have a slip pocket, another slip pocket, and a zipper pocket, and a nice, beautiful lining space where you can have anything. You have your connectors where you can make this a crossbody. So there you have it. You have the Coupeville tote. If you have any questions in regards to this tote, please leave a comment down below. If you did enjoy it, if you can comment, like and subscribe, it helps the channel out tremendously. And if you want to get the pattern, the link to the pattern is going to be in my description as well as in my pinned comments. If you purchase this pattern through my link, it becomes an affiliate link, and I do get a small portion of the proceeds, and it will greatly help me as well as this channel. If you would like to know more about other things that I offer, like I'm teaching people how to modify and how to kind of think outside of the box when it comes down to bag making, I do have a Patreon. If you're like, Shnova, I would not have been able to make this bag without you, I want to buy you a cup of coffee, I will put my Ko-fi information in the description box as well. Until the next time I see you and speak to you, I hope you guys all have a phenomenal day and you're super special. Happy sewing.